My web quest is Where Will You Travel? I'll give the credits to Jessica Samsel. I found this on Quest Garden. So let's get started. The assignment is for grades 6 to 8, and it's a social studies course looking at history and geography and culture. And it's a 3-component assignment with research, an itinerary, and a brochure. Here are the instructions that I would give to the class. I'll let you take a look at that in your own time and move on. So the first component is research. So students would work in pairs, and the pairs would decide on a country to research, and it would be first come, first served, so that everyone's doing a different country in the class. The research should include history, geography, and culture, but also, activities to do in that country and travel destinations and events that they'd like to see. And students should be prepared to answer peer questions because that'll come in later. So they should record what they know and record their sources. So here's a look at the learning objectives for the research. Very straightforward. The second component is an itinerary. So the students need to create a 1-week travel itinerary. They need to find flight information, determine travel destinations, cities, activities that they'd like to do, and look at when are they going to eat, where do they want to eat, and the timing's really key for this. This is a task in organization and also online formatting. So you can see here's my example for the students. I've planned an itinerary for Switzerland, and you can see all my photos in here. They're personal photos throughout the slideshow. So we're looking at going from July 2nd to July 10th. So here, if you're planning a trip to Switzerland, here's a good itinerary for you. So the learning objectives for this one is, identifying who wants to go on the trip, planning out the places you want to go and the things you want to see, and using search engines. The brochure section. Now this is the most creative section. It's going to summarize the research that they did at the beginning on their search engines, but it's also going to give little know-how, what should tourists pack, how should they travel, what languages are going to be spoken, and it should be visually pleasing and easy to read. So here's my example of my brochure. It's on the next 2 slides. So I've included the history and the languages and the geography that is part of the social studies, and also some really nice visuals, and I've formatted it so that it's the colors of the Swiss flag. So the brochure learning objectives, a lot of it, it's summarizing the research, it's making it visually pleasing, using the computer to design their brochure, But I also think this is the time for students to be creative. So like I said, I've used personal photos. Students could potentially Photoshop them into photos beside the pyramids, or edit it with cartoons and things. Students can do so much. So I definitely give some extra marks out there for really creative examples. So this project integrates technology throughout the assignment. All the research will be done online. During the first class, when you're introducing this, it would be a good idea to, go through with your class. What's a good website? What makes, not such a good website? How do you record your citations? And I have shared on my instruction sheet, which you could see earlier in the slideshow, some popular sources for this assignment. So sources need to be collected in a doc. Since the students are working in pairs, I'd recommend having them share their information on a Google Doc and share that information with the teachers so that you can track their progression and see what they're working on. They need to be using flight search engines, organizing a table or a calendar for their itinerary, and designing a brochure using the word processor, typing and formatting throughout the assignment. So at the end of the assignment, the class as a whole would have a travel fair, and students, one of the partners would sit at a table with the brochures and the itineraries and answer peers' questions about the country while the other circulated the room. And then you'd switch who was sitting and who was circulating. And at the very end of the class, it would be really fun to have all the students vote on which country they thought was the best tourist destination. I really like this project. It hits just all of the nails on the head for me for what I'd like to see with integrating technology. And I hope you enjoyed looking at my presentation. If you have any other questions or comments, feel free to email me or shoot me a message, and I'll answer them as best I can. Right, thanks.